Rev up your engines!
Well, here we go. Ford with their old edit said quality's number one. Well, it isn't anymore. And F-150s are being recalled due to defective drive shafts. Those are two-piece drive shafts because they're long trucks. Some of them, they didn't put the circlip on right. Thing could fall off where you're driving down the road. Just what you want on a brand new truck. It's bad enough that people are getting them and everything's rusted underneath on a brand new truck. But now they're not even put the circlips in right. And of course, let's say you're parked. The drive shaft, the transmission's locked, the drive shaft goes to the rear wheels that keeps the vehicle from rolling. If that thing broke while it was parked and the drive shaft came off, then it would roll on a hill or whatever and cause an accident. Not something that you want. Now, as usual, you know, they call it later. This is for 2021 F-150s, and you won't get notified for a while. If you have any questions about it, you own one, get your VIN number. Go to the National Highway Traffic Safety Association.org website, put in your VIN number, see if it's applied. And if that's the case, I wouldn't drive it very hard. And if I parked it, I would always put the emergency brake on so that it wouldn't roll, whether the drive shaft broke on the thing or not. And I would use the parking brake all the time now anyway, because if you don't, then there's more strain on the circlip and it could pop out of place because it wasn't built right in the first place. And they've been making two-piece drive shafts for decades and decades and decades. It's amazing that they still can't make them correctly because their factory quality is starting to go downhill. And these are in F-150s that are made in the United States. You can imagine some of the quality of the stuff they're made in Mexico is coming out too. So it's 21S25. That's the recall number. If you got a 2021 F-150, your brand new truck may have a bad drive shaft in it. Who knows what else? That's what they found out so far. They'll probably find out more as time goes on. Well, if you're waiting on a 2021 Corvette, the new mid-engine one, you're SOL because Chevrolet just canceled the remaining 2021 allocations. They can't make enough of them. Now, they made in Bowling Green, Kentucky, just down the road here. And to give you an example, 2 weeks ago, they only made 3 of these C8 mid-engine Corvettes, so they're not making enough of them. So what they're saying is now, they're saying the 2021 production has ended. They're not going to make any more 2021s. Of course, they're waiting for the next year. They say that they're going to begin building the 2022 model in early September. So you got June, July, August, 4 months before they even build a new one. So if you got one on order, you're SOL, and you're going to have to wait even longer. Now, GM says, that quote, "We are not planning on canceling any except the 2021 model year Corvette Stingray orders." Yeah, they're not going to cancel it, but they're probably going to end up making them at 2022s. You'll get a newer one, but you're going to be waiting a lot longer. Now, the dealers themselves have continued to accept orders, and they just say, well, we don't know when you're going to get your car, but, you know, we'll accept an order, and we'll tell you when it's going to be ready. And, of course, you know, people want to get these cars for the summer, right? Have some fun in the summer. Nobody wants to ride around in the snow in one of those things. They'd be sliding all over the place, right? So if you ordered one, you didn't get it, you're going to be waiting quite some time. Of course, a lot of this has to do with the chip shortage, the coronavirus knocking down production and stuff. I mean, the fact that a couple weeks ago they only made 3 of the things, they're not rushing them out, and they're not even going to make any more now. They're going to wait until the Model 22 in September. Of course, that's conditional too. Maybe they won't have the chips then. There's an awful lot of chips on those things. They're very complex electronics. I tried them out. They're cool. They're interesting. They know where you're driving, so if you're near a speed bump in your neighborhood, that'll lift your car up in the air so it doesn't hit it. You know, they're very complex cars, and that's leading to their downfall, and they can't produce them. They don't have enough chips. K-Boss says, Honda's new 10-speed transmission is awful. This is a comment. I got a 20 Accord, 26,000 miles with a K20 and 10-speed, and the transmission's awful. Luggish, the worst downshift, unless you're paddle shifting. The whole thing seems geared to fuel economy and short shifts, even while in normal mode. The only way to get a smooth drive is to put it in sport mode, paddle shifting, traction control off. I guess one question I do have is if anyone knows what the problem is or how to fix it, I'd be appreciative. You pretty much hit the nail on the head. Their head's screwed up into gas mileage, gas mileage, gas mileage. So, you found out if you put it in the manual mode and do that, it goes perfectly fine. It's because they are worried about gas mileage, so it's sluggish, shifts too early, you don't get the acceleration. It's unfortunate, but now, you might contact Honda and say, look, I can't stand the way this thing drives in automatic mode. Do you have any updated software so I can have something that it will shift better when it's in normal mode? Tell them you don't care about eco mode, you can leave that alone, but you want normal mode to shift more like when it's manual instead of being so sluggish. You can ask them that. But that is a problem with many 10-speed transmissions. They're so into gas mileage, that's why they made the 10 speeds, that they forgot people want to drive their cars correctly, and to get another couple miles per gallon, they don't want a sluggish driving car that they paid a small fortune for, because Hondas have always been kind of zippy cars. Roy Roy Hines says, my 2014 Honda Fit won't unlock from the fob key, but it locks. Any feedback? Now, I'm assuming that all 4 doors won't unlock. If some do and some don't, it's the actuators on the ones that don't unlock. But let's say they all don't unlock. The first thing you want to do is pray you got another key fob. If you don't, buy one and have it programmed. It's usually the key fob is broken. Because if it's not the key fob that's broken, that means it's the receiving unit, the module for it inside the vehicle. They cost an awful lot of money. They have to be reprogrammed by a Honda dealer. It's a royal pain in the rear end. Normally, it's your key fob that's gone bad. And of course, even though it's locking it but not unlocking it, try a new battery in the fob anyway, because you never know. Sometimes the power's getting low to work on one and not the other. Try the battery first, but if that doesn't do it, pray another key fob does it. You're going to spend a fortune fixing it. J Points back 28 says, Scotty, my daughter moved to Bel Air Boulevard to be closer inside the loop. She needs her brake pads changed. I don't know a good mechanic on this side of town. I live in Galveston. Can you help? All right. Well, hey, why don't you help your daughter out and do it yourself? Watch my videos, how to change brake pads. It's very simple. How to change brake pads, Scotty, on YouTube. Watch the video. You know, it's very simple to do. But if you don't want to, I have a friend, Jaime. He runs Texan Automotive. It's on West Dallas near downtown. Jaime's a real nice guy. He's a very honest guy, and he'll take care of you. But I mean, do it yourself. It's not that hard to do. Watch my video. You'll see. It's pretty simple to do. But if you don't want to, he does good work. He's an honest mechanic. He's been doing it for quite some time. Arch 1218 says, 1997 Pathfinder got a fuel leak. Section of the fuel line after the fuel filter was rusted and leaked. So I cut off the bad section 4 inches, got a longer hose, put it on. It doesn't leak now, but I see the vehicle is hard to start after sitting a while, even overnight. It's like the pressure is low. Could it be air in the line? All right, no. There's so much pressure in a fuel pump. Once you get it running, there's no air in that line. It could be a complete coincidence, but make sure you bought high pressure fuel line, because if you didn't, when you start it, the line will expand. Eventually it would blow up and cause a big leak and be dangerous, but that also lowers the pressure when it expands. Make sure that's what you have, you know, that you got it on there right, and that it's the right diameter, because if it's too small, it won't feed it right, and it will be hard to start. Now, it could be a complete coincidence. I mean, it could be, you got a 97, pressure test the fuel pump, and if it's low, replace it. And if you didn't, replace the fuel filter too, because that can do it too. Always change the pump and the filter together. It only makes sense. Just Perry 22 says, Scotty, help, my car just got flooded. The water reached up to the gear selector. My seats are soaking wet. It's 2010 Honda Civic with 86,000 miles. Carvana offered me last week for $4,000, but now it's flooded. I don't have any insurance. What do you think the best thing I should do? Oh boy. Disconnect the battery. Don't try to start it. Get inside the car, find the computers, take them out, unscrew the covers, and dry them with hair dryers. Pray it starts, then take it to Carvana. If it doesn't, trade it in right away. Because once they're flooded that deep, sometimes days, months, or even years later, they'll completely crap out as all the electronics go bad. But try that and pray. Now, if it doesn't start, you're screwed and you got a pile of junk, and you're just going to have to sell it for parts. If the engine and transmission's good, somebody might offer you some money for it, because you say, look, it flooded out, but the engine and transmission's fine. It's just the electronics are all screwed up. But try that first. Take all the computers out, dry them with a hair dryer, and pray. Do not try to start it, because as soon as you turn the key and start it, that will fry all the computers. You want to dry them out first. Lewis Guy says, my car just got wrecked. I got an '09 Honda Civic, 54,000. A car hit my back left tire and bent the tire inward and slightly, and bent my back right tire outward. Slight damage to the body. All right, I can tell you right now they're going to total it, because if you had 3 airbags deploy and there's all that bent, the airbags alone will almost total value of that car. You know, it's what? It's a 13-year-old Honda Civic. When those airbags go, they cost a fortune. You got to buy new ones. They don't have refurbished ones, really. It costs a small fortune. And the wheels are bent, so it's got frame damage, and the body's dead. I guarantee you, don't even bother with it. It's not worth fixing. And don't buy it back from the insurance company either. Just say goodbye to that car. You don't want to go any further. Nelson John says, I know you're not a fan of Mini, but I didn't know this, so I bought a 2015 Countryman. It runs great, but it keeps getting this check engine code P2402. Evaporative emissions leak detect pump control circuit high. I can't find where that pump is. Where is it? Yeah, you should have listed me. Those things are endless money pits. But really, what'd you say? You got 45,000 miles, so it shouldn't be completely falling apart yet. This is how crazy the English and the German, you know, BMW owns them, so it's like an English-German consortium, the Minis. That pump, what you do is you jack the car up in the air, take the right rear wheel off, then take the right wheel plastic inner fender off, and you'll see the pump assemblies hiding in there. They hid it way away. You gotta take all that crap apart, but it's in there. And you'll probably crap in your pants when you find out how much money they want for that stupid little pump. But the odds are it's shorted out, because when it says the voltage is high, it means the pump's running too hard, using too much voltage, and it needs to be replaced. And if it couldn't even last 45,000 miles, that tells you the low quality that Mini has. Well, if you're whining about paying to park your car, you should thank goodness you're not in Hong Kong. A guy just paid $1.3 million for a parking space in Hong Kong. Yes, $1.3 million, which is 10.2 million Hong Kong dollars. Looks even worse for them. The guy purchased it from the Nan Fung Group in this high-rise real estate development in Hong Kong. Things are expensive there. They didn't mention how much his place cost, but if the parking space, and this is for one car, costs $1.3 million, you can imagine what his residence costs that he bought in the same building. As far as I can research, at least as of 2020, Hong Kong had the most expensive real estate in the world. So they now also have the most expensive parking spot in the world too. Next time you whine about paying $5 to park, you thank goodness you're not in Hong Kong. It might cost you $1.3 million. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.